Ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
In us, and if that trust relationship that you have with us carries over to another individual who trusts you, that just means mountains for us.
Yeah, and if I can say, Joe, it's also the YouTube guys like Digital Asset Investor. I follow him every day. I religiously watch his videos every day, and a couple of others, and those sort of guys are putting it out there for you guys, and he's got a lot of viewers in Australia as well. I just think that's going to be the new way we do things in the future, instead of road shows and all of the old way that we used to do it. With the current situation that we're going through, it's going to be hard for people to be in rooms and hear pitches and all of that. So it'll be more so done online and through databases and YouTube haulers and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, that's terrific. DAI is actually in the room, and he's probably taping what you just said so he can run an advert for his YouTube channel.
Yeah, he's a great guy. I mean, just not just his YouTube channel for digital assets, but as in life himself. He's really good guy.
Yeah. Well, great.
Joe, I brought Miguel over into your space as well.
I see him now.
Since we're talking about XRP and Ripple. If you want
absolutely. So, guys, we have the good fortune of having an 11th hour guest who is really gracious enough to come and join us. I literally called Miguel not more than an hour and a half ago, and he was on his way to a Chipotle, believe it or not, to bring dinner home to his family. I mean, we all know him as the guy who was head of XRP markets at Ripple until about April of this year. But not many of us know that he's a terrific dad and husband as well, who right now in the lockdown is having to be Mr. Mom to a 2-year-old and an 11-month-old, and is literally being a school teacher and cook and everything else besides. So hats off to Miguel. Miguel, welcome.
Thank you, Joe. That's incredibly kind of you. It is certainly an interesting time in life.
Yeah. So Miguel, while we have you for a couple of minutes, tell us what that job entailed. I mean, it's a formidable title, right? Head of XRP markets, but what exactly did it entail in terms of your responsibilities? What work did you do in that capacity?
Sure. So, I began at the company in November of 16. And if I'm being honest, I think initially it was clear and it was nebulous at the same time. The description of the role was to grow liquidity for XRP as we fine-tune the use case for using it as a bridge asset. But it's not clear exactly how we were going to do that. I think it was coming from, it was at an interesting time in the development of the markets. So, it was whether do we focus on OTC, do we focus on the exchanges, do we focus on lending first, or do we just go and get listings? And it was a lot of questions around sort of how we do that. And I wasn't alone. The Jay Chetty was on the team when I first started there. Jay was a huge help. So building liquidity for XRP was the broad mandate. And then that morphed into building liquidity for XRapid and building the partnerships around XRapid, from the market makers to the exchanges to the users of XRapid. So then that was one piece of it. And then, my team was responsible for managing the sales of XRP. So early market report, the work that went into putting that together, everything that was highlighted in that in terms of what we were doing in the markets, that was my team as well. So it was basically those three responsibilities.
Yeah. And what were some of the more formidable challenges that you faced in terms of obtaining institutional adoption for XRP as a bridge asset? Because you could use XRapid, for example, if you're a financial institution, without necessarily using XRP as a value transfer mechanism, right?
Sure. I think, the theory of XRapid could be asset agnostic. I think with respect to XRP, its attributes in terms of speed and cost really make it perfect for that. In terms of challenges, the biggest hump, I think, for XRapid was getting some of these companies to believe that it was possible to offer a better experience than what they were getting at the time, using this very bleeding edge technology. No one had ever done it before. So it was us promising them that it was possible and that it was something that was going to be better than what they did today, but we didn't have any proof points yet. So it took a long time to get folks bought into the idea that, yeah, it could be better. And I think it's proving out now that, in certain aspects, it certainly is better.
Yeah. So when you left Ripple, were you satisfied at the adoption that you were seeing for both the XRapid product as well as for XRP?
I mean, look, when I left, if I compare where we were when I started to when I left, I could be nothing but satisfied. Could you want more? Sure, you can always want more, right? But it's, XRP and XRapid were the first real world institutional uses of digital currencies and distributed ledger technology. If you're not satisfied by that, I think you're just being ungrateful.
That's great. Well, in the roughly 2 minutes that we have left, I'm actually going to ask Paul and Brett if they have a quick question for Miguel. Nothing that requires too much explication because we're short on time, but take a shot, guys.
Hey, Miguel, first of all, I'd like to say it's an honor to have you on. I follow your tweets and, I follow Ripple's progress. I just wanted to know why you saw a need to move on. Did you complete everything you did at Ripple and felt as though you'd done your job and had to have another crack at something?
Yeah, look, I think I really, really enjoyed probably those first 18 months, right? The helter-skelter nature of getting something from 0 to 1. And if I'm being honest, the more structured 1 to 100 wasn't quite as enjoyable. So I think that was one factor. It did become a little bit wash, rinse, repeat in terms of, right? We'd set the playbook up and now we kind of execute on that playbook. That was probably one. I think the other thing is, we had staffed when we brought in Brienne. I made myself somewhat redundant with respect to some of the markets pieces. That left, again, the XRapid part, which was maturing. So I think that made me think, well, life is short. I have a lot of things going on in my personal life, certainly. And the company may be just fine without me at this point. And I think, we all have big egos and we all think we're completely irreplaceable. But the truth of the matter is, sometimes, you have to let the kids go. Right? And not that Ripple was my baby. That's not what I'm saying. But yeah, just the timing was right. And I'm incredibly proud of the work that company has done and does. I think it is some of the best amalgam of talent I have ever seen. I think Brad has built an incredible company, and I'm proud to have been a part of it.
Miguel, just one question I've got for you. Now that you're no longer with Ripple, the $1 million question is, what do you think the upside of XRP is in the short, medium, and long term? And what do you think will, what estimate would you have on the price on the IPO of Ripple?
Yeah, I mean,
be specific.
Yeah, no. And just because I'm not with Ripple doesn't mean I can say a bunch of stuff. I've signed many documents.
We won't tell anyone what you said.
No, of course not. Get out. Look, what I would say is, I will say this: I am incredibly bullish crypto broadly, and then within crypto, I think you would have to be foolish not to recognize the potential of XRP, especially given all of the progress that Ripple has made. In terms of an IPO, I was not, you know, there's one thing that Brad was always very not transparent about, was any related things, whether it was mergers, acquisitions, IPOs, raises. That's just something that he was always, and he said this very publicly at many, many meetings, you know, all hands, that it's not something that he would speak to. So I wasn't involved, for instance, with the last raise. I was caught by surprise, I think, just like everybody else in the company. And I'm not a valuations expert, so I don't know where they'll IPO the company. What I would say is I'd be surprised if they did not IPO the company, because I think when Brad says something, and the way he did at Davos, that man is a very, very focused human being. So, you know, if he said that is the plan, I would be surprised if we didn't get there.
Great. Thank you, Miguel. You know,
Pleasure.
we're putting us before the bedtime stories of your kids, but now you can go and do that. And I'm sure we're going to have you back, so for a much more extensive discussion. But thank you very much for coming in at the 11th hour. And Paul and Brent, thank you very much as well for coming and joining us.
No problem.
You're
I
welcome.
see Brad on there as well. Good to see him. I listened to Brad along with Digital Asset Investor as well. So awesome, man.
Cool. Thank you.
Thanks, fellas.
Thanks, guys.
Right.
Excellent. So thank you, everyone. That was a tremendous